2 things done. Now, all it is, people are looking at this. Paul, what's with your camera? Jane, can you fix Paul's camera quick? Just get it so it's like tilted. Just notice tilt the camera itself. Oh, you're doing it. Look at that. Beauty. All right, we're set. Everyone's here. 4 people. We're just waiting for our singer. All right, anytime you're ready. Still the nod me in, okay? Here he goes. Wait till the vocals is coming soon, Paul. This is my part. Normally at this point, we would have a singer, right? We'd have a singer.
Was it at the 1 or the 4?
There was like a 1 or a 4. There was like 4 of them, and then you were supposed to do another part, and then I was going to come in. There's something different about this show. I can't think what it is. I don't know what is it the opening? Are we nailing it? Is that what it is?
I think we were supposed to sing it.
Oh, damn it. Oh, here we go. You know, sometimes here in the Dutch Hall, you know, sometimes things don't work out as they're planned. We do it every week. We set a goal for ourselves to come in each and every week and to do this program for our listeners. And we made a commitment to them, Paul. Some of them are like a hardcore driving to work on a Friday morning listening right now.
That's why I showed up. All those people were deprived. I wasn't here last week.
And what we did was we set up a song and play a nice Dire Straits song, and we had Steve on drums. You know, Steve was just working the drums of this song. I was watching before. He was waiting for Braden to show up, and Braden and Kevin and David and Michael. Yeah. Because it's like there's only 6 shows left in the hall, and eventually they're going to be gone, right? And then so they'll have to take advantage of every one that's left. But no, the only 2 that show up are Steve and Wes, and of course us Van Dyke brothers. The 4 of us together, we couldn't sing our way out of a paper bag.
Not much singing going on.
But we're still doing the show for you people because we love you, and we're going to get this through this thing. But there's only one way to get started. You know what that is, Steve?
I think it's to play that theme song beat.
Yes.
Theme song, boys.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's the raucous crowd goes nuts. Welcome everybody live from the Dutch Hall. We are Canada's only late night talk show and the greatest podcast ever come out of a pool shed in Pine Grove, Ontario. Bar none.
Bar none.
And I believe we are that way because we have the greatest band in Canadian late night history. And you heard them here, the Nocturnal Emissions. Comprised this week of just a couple of drops that came out on the bed sheets. Steve, the reluctant German, on guitar, and the balls of the Nocturnal Emissions back where they belong, Whiskey Wes Hagens. And you know what? This show wouldn't be complete without a good bartender, brother, bus driver, director, and bottle washer. He's Paul Van Dyke, everyone.
And now it's the host of this program.
That's me.
It's your two-time
Two-time.
President's Club Award winner. It's Pope Pete Van Dyke.
Hey! Thank you, everyone.
Hey.
Bow. Hit the cymbal, Jane. Hit the cymbal. Just hit it with your hand. Yeah, the top one. Hit him again. Oh, that one didn't work. Yeah. There. All right, there we go. All right.
I thought Paul was leaving.
That was an epic opening, and now what do we have to do yet? Just a feedback, and then close the show. Done.
Done.
Was that like a half hour like opening? That one?
No, 5 minutes.
What? 5 minutes? I thought that was at least an hour and a half. That opener. That was the most painful thing. You know, it's not. This is the thing about people don't understand about this program. Each and every week, you know, whatever collection of dedicated nocturnal emissions show up, we have to make a song out of it.
That's right.
In between 10 and 20 minutes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Usually. And usually there's talented musicians to pull this feat off, and even they are angered and frustrated, as well used to are. Talented musicians here today, angered and frustrated
That's right.
that you were given not even 10 minutes to cook up a song, this song, random song,
Out of the blue.
with the lineup that you were presented with, which was just the two of you guys, right?
Right.
And it was unfair. And you know who I blame? Let me get my list out.
It's long tonight.
It is long tonight. Let's start with right to my immediate empty chair. That would be Michael, our band leader, Bo. Well,
Boo.
where was he?
He's got a good excuse, though.
What is it?
He's going to the Jack White concert.
Yeah, Jack White concert, you know?
Oh, yeah, that
Jack
was
White,
tonight.
Pete Van Dyke, Jack White, Jack White wins.
I got to tell you a secret. I was offered Jack White tickets to give, not to give, but to sell to anyone in the Dutch Hall crew who might want them, right?
Oh.
I said, you fuck right off with those tickets because I need, if I would have given them, Steve would be gone and then it would just be me and Wes. And I don't know what we play.
I have not a clue.
Just at bass and Pete, Paul on, what are you going to be playing? You could play the
I was with
Shakers.
Steve.
That's right.
Yeah, you'd be gone too. Anyways, yeah, Mike's going. He's having like a million bachelor parties between now and then. But me and Charles just booked our flight to the Nashville to go to this real
Look
one.
out.
What?
Did look out.
Yeah, look out, Nashville. Damn straight.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a bunch of Van Dyke boys on the loose. It's gonna be like Van Dyke Party Services unleashed in Nashville, Tennessee. Oh, I can't even wait. It's gonna be ridiculousness that I can't even imagine. But I'm smart about this whole thing. Me and Charlie are getting a little paradise away from the chaos because we're old, eh? Because we can't handle sometimes too much of the younger fellas' boisterous activities. Sometimes I like to get my shut eye. Maybe a nice 8 hours of shut eye.
Maybe
Huh?
just a nice place to take a nap, eh?
What?
You want to
Yeah.
take a nap, eh?
Maybe in the afternoon you want to take a nap. I don't like the honky tonks anymore. I would like to go rest my weary head and then maybe go on a bicycle ride.
Yeah. Not me. I'm out.
I'm out.
I fell for that trick once.
It was hilly, wasn't it?
Yes, there's big hills in Nashville.
Yeah, it's a lot hillier than you think. You don't think Nashville is going to be hilly until you put a big, giant brother on a bicycle. And you're like, this is a lot hillier than I expected, Paul. He's like cursing and pushing his bike up the hill. I'm just going to call a cab. Fuck this thing. What do you plug it into something?
Yeah, it would be way better to see the city in a cab.
I do like using Lyft and Uber now.
Yeah.
It's way better. I don't know why. Well, because a lot of cities you can't. It's not easy to get cabs, but it's always easy to get an Uber or Lyft.
Yep.
And you can see them right on your phone. It's really good. What else can be like that? Everything? Can everything be a shared model like that? Because you can do like you can share your house,
And your car now.
your car. You can
Rent
just
your
like
car.
rent your own car out, right? And then you can rent your own house out. People do that all the time. It's kind of weird, eh? What do you do with your clothes? Like if people like do Airbnb for their own house, but they have like clothes in their house, what do they got to lock them in a closet or something? Maybe.
Maybe a shed in the backyard.
Oh, a clothes shed. Great idea. Eh. Hey, Jane, What about I build you a clothes shed? Steve's got one. He's all fancy.
You guys don't have. Isn't that what the Dutch hall
Is
turns
that like
into
a
in
walk-in
5 shows?
closet?
Yeah, I guess so. Like we can use an old bulk kill
Nice.
to put all your shoes in there.
I'm in.
Oh shit, guys! You know what? Ooh, I got all kinds of booze in my mustache.
Woo.
Steve, now you have a luscious beard, right? And this is something that you do all the time. You just go bearded all year round, right?
Yep.
And how long have you had that beard on your face?
Forever.
And are you covering up? Or are you like masking, as they say?
Penis birthmark.
Oh, is that what we? No, that's what we thought.
That's what you thought.
Is it a penis birthmark?
It is not a penis birthmark.
Okay, 20 questions to figure out why Steve has a beard.
Okay.
Okay. Steve, are you covering up your are you covering up your humiliation for giving up on your goals and dreams?
No.
Terrible,
Not at all.
terrible.
I thought I was going to get rid of that. That's 19. We got 19 questions
It's
left.
gonna be a long.
terrible bum chin.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You don't remember?
I don't know. I have no idea what my chin looks like. I'm sure there's 2 of them.
Does your beard get itchy at all?
Never.
Never anymore. You're just used to it, right?
Yeah.
Your body just adjusts. It's whatever. That's what the thing is. Your body will adjust to whatever torture you put it through, eh? That's just like you worked in tobacco, right?
Yep.
You know, when you're doing like sand leaves and you're like, your body doesn't even bend this way. It hurts really
Not
bad.
supposed to.
It's not. You're not supposed to do it all day.
No.
And like it hurts. This is unreasonable. And then eventually your body just gets used to it, and then you can do it all the time.
Yeah,
It doesn't
it'll
make
hate you later, though.
Oh yeah. In your life, you mean?
I would think so.
Yeah, like I was working for the bank, and I went to the I had a bad back or whatever, so I went to the doctor, and they gave me a X-rays and stuff, and they said, "Oh, you got years of you got damage from years of hard labor, right?" And I'm like, "I work at a desk, I don't do anything, And she goes, "No, what'd you do before that?" I go, "Oh, I grew up on a farm." But I didn't think that counted, the 15 years of hard labor I did there while my body was forming. That's actually probably what did it.
Maybe.
Yeah. But anyways, what I was getting to is that my beard is new on my face. And as it turns out, it's not that I did it to raise money for men's health. Like there's talking, it's called No Shave November now. It's not called Movember, which is just mustaches. And now the bearded community, like Steve, wanted to be included, right? But in order to qualify, you're supposed to shave at the beginning of the month and just show what you can do in a month. So
Right.
it shows your manliness, how much hair you can actually produce, right? And anyways, I'm going for this beard, and it's itchy as hell right now. Like it's driving me bats.
Early stages.
So how long does that go for? Wes, you just had one too.
Yeah, I hated it.
You hated the beard?
Yeah, it would not stop itching. It was longer than Steve's, I think.
How long did you have it and it still didn't stop?
4 months.
4 months and it still itched? Oh, that would drive me fucking
Yeah.
crazy. Anyways, my point is, what was my point?
No idea.
Oh, my point is that people do this to raise awareness, right? But what I found out talking to my teenage daughters is that like high school kids can't grow beards, a lot of them, right? But they want to help out with awareness for men's health as well. So they found this thing. They do this thing called No Nut November.
That's right.
You know what that means, Paul?
They don't bust
No.
a nut in November.
Yeah. You don't know what it means, eh?
No.
No.
I don't.
You don't know what no nut means?
No.
Do you know what to nut is? Like, I got to go nut quick.
No.
You don't know?
No.
Do you know? You know, bust a nut.
Yeah.
But you know what bust a nut
I know
means?
what busted nut means.
But that's all it is. Nut is just short for bust a nut.
Mm.
You know what bust a nut means? It means ejaculate, right?
Right.
So I would assume that means no sex, no masturbation. But then my daughters clarified, no, it's just no masturbation, and which is good because that means they didn't consider sex to be a thing yet, right?
You hope.
Yeah, I hope you can't get if you're going no nut November, you can't have sex either. Can't
Right.
nut, can't nut at all.
Right.
I don't think that's healthy, though.
So they're not sexually active.
I'll tell you what happens, Wes. I did it as an experiment one time when I was 21 years old.
Terrible idea.
Yeah, it was. I was going to go to England, and I was in I was in a house with like 16 people or whatever it was in this house, right? So then you're like you feel like you don't have a lot of private space to spend time with yourself, like you should, where you're alone with just yourself, where you get to make love to yourself. But anyways, I said I'd feel awkward about doing it in a house with all these people, they don't know. So I said I'm just going to take 4 months off because it's just one semester. 4 months off of releasing, and as I'm 21, in the prime of my sexual peak, Anyways, that lasted about 4 or 5 weeks, and then I jizzed on the top bunk right over top of my good friend. He had no idea underneath. I couldn't look him in the eye for like a week, eh? Like I couldn't look him in the eye. And he was like, "What's the matter with you?" I'm like, "I feel so ashamed," And I eventually told him what had happened, eh? I was like, "I didn't do anything about it. I was just having a nice dream," and then went off. Mark's just sawing logs beneath me, Poor bastard.
Man.
Didn't even know the drips were coming. Anyways, that's what's going to happen. So you should actually, blow the steam out there, because otherwise it's going to do it itself, and it's going to cause you a lot more embarrassment and a lot more laundry to explain to your mom if there's any high school kids listening to this.
Is there
program.
more anger issues in November because they can't release?
Yes, there is.
100%.
100% Dutch Hall fact. There is definitely more anger when you don't bust a nut. That's just facts.
That's right.
You do it, eh? Like
Oh, yeah, I'd be fucking mental.
Okay, this is a great example, Paul. You're with your wife, right? Let's say you're with your wife. Let's say that maybe just the rigors of life may be causing a little stress between you and the missus. You know what I mean, Paul?
Yeah.
And you're maybe not as enamored with her as you were on your wedding day. You ever have days like that?
Yeah, a couple.
Well, on that day, just picture, right? Just for a second, she just pulls you around the corner and just sucks your dick real quick,
Oh, yeah.
right? And then all of a sudden you just blow your load in your mouth, and then you're like, "Oh, whoa, what happened there?" And she's like, "It's time to go back to the kids." And then and you're like, all of a sudden, your whole opinion of her changes, eh? You look at her with new eyes, don't you think?
She becomes great.
Yeah, for a little bit.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, but it would change it, wouldn't it?
It would.
Yeah. Lesson to be learned here. It's for the ladies. This is because we have a lot of lady listeners. I like them to know if you think your loved one's getting a bit grumpy, just pull him over, give him his wet fur, and
His what for?
yeah, and then he's fine. That's even what Bill Clinton. Remember Bill Clinton? He got that blowjob from that girl, the beret.
Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah, that one.
Didn't he stuck a cigar in her pussy?
box.
In her vagina,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but he never had sex with her.
With a cigar, I guess.
But he never had
That would have been
sexual.
a funny joke, eh? They're getting all cigar box.
Yeah, cigar box.
Sorry.
What is another one? Do another cigar related product, and I'll see if I can make it dirty. What's another cigar product? What do you?
A humidor?
Oh, this is gonna be hilarious. I don't know.
Well, how big is your cigar? Or how big do you like your cigar?
I don't know. Maybe just ash in her pussy. Maybe.
He needed an ashtray.
Maybe you didn't really stick it in as much as butt it out.
Yeah.
Oh.
What?
Just butt it out.
Just butt it out.
Yeah, you just had to butt it out somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to be known as an ashtray. I like
Greatness.
cigar box better than ashtray.
Really? Did I make a way of finding it more offensive to ladies? To more objectifying? I'm sorry. I didn't know what I was doing. Hey, well, you know how me and Steve were talking today about how we'll talk about one more thing, and then we have to get to a segment we call feedback. We got Me and Steve were talking today about how, you know how they change words because they're offensive? Like,
That's right.
can't say retarded, even though mentally retarded was like a dictionary term for like an ailment, like where you had a retardation of your development or whatever, like it was stunted, like that. You know what I mean? And that was like a legitimate term, not an offensive term,
Because retarded means slow.
Yes, and slow is bad too. You can't say slow either because both those things are offensive,
Yes.
right? Because they have a negative connotation or something now. But then they change the word, right? So then they just change the word. So now they think that's going to solve it because you call it a nicer word, right? But then you got to be mentally challenged to think that that's going to change anything, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Aren't you just going to, you got to be some sort of developmentally delayed goofball to really believe this is going to work. You see what I'm doing there? I'm taking the new word and making it offensive, right?
Right.
It's going to keep happening as long as there's dicks. Can I just give us one word and say don't be a dick about it, You can't keep changing the language is what I'm saying. It doesn't change people. No matter how much you try to police us all, we're still going to find a way to make fun of your friend for doing something stupid,
Right.
But you shouldn't throw them in that category with those people who have legitimate health problems. And, I saw a guy who had legitimate, like, mental health, or not mental health, but, he's like a little bit developmentally challenged or whatever. And he was waiting for the bus on that windy day.
Right.
And he just was sitting there, like, getting his hood blown by the wind, and he was just like smiling ear to ear. And I was driving past him, and it made me happy from him to the paint shop. I'll tell you, just looking at that kid's grinning at the wind blowing him in the face, he was having a ball, And I was thinking, am I supposed to feel bad about that? Because I wasn't laughing at him. It just made me kind of laugh to see a guy have such joy over something so simple or whatever. You know what I mean? But like that seems nice to me. Like it doesn't seem to be like something I'm doing mean to the person, right?
Right.
But some people could find it offensive for me laughing and pointing like that, throwing a bottle out the window. I shouldn't have done that.
That's
No.
where you draw the line.
That's where I went too far. Was it the bottle? Well, we should do a segment we call feedback. We got feedback. We got feedback. It's motherfucking feedback.
Motherfucking feedback.
Hey, this week's feedback is brought to you, as always, by our friends at Amazon. If you would like to support someone other than a billionaire, and you still like to buy it from Amazon, what you should do is go to Live from Dutch Hall's website, click on our Amazon banner. If you don't see our Amazon banner, it's because you got ad blockers on, you turkey.
And it's just one extra step. It's awesome.
It's very easy. Just for that website, you let it off. You click on the Amazon banner, and then that bald guy, Bezo,
Jeff.
he does not get all the money. Oh, I wasn't talking about Steve. I was talking about this Amazon guy. It's I didn't know because you came up right away, said Jeff, just to make sure it wasn't misconstrued as Steve. That's what I took it.
Yes, that's right.
Anyways, he doesn't need the money, we do. So do that step, and then we get some of the money.
And you might get stuck in a Dutch Hall tornado. Dutch Hall NATO.
Ooh, this brings us I'm not even going to the next sponsor because Jane has led us very nicely into our first piece of feedback. This one comes to us from our Live from the Dutch Hall Facebook page. It is from Tig Wright, former guest, a many-time guest of the show, friend of the show, Tig Wright. Tig says, Dutchaholics wasn't terrible, but how about Children of the Hall? Is what he says. You know how we were trying to find a name for the Dutch Hall fans, like our diamonds?
Nice.
So what do we call them? And he's saying Children of the Hall. And I'm going to say, Tig, no. Sounds like shit. I don't like it. Go fuck yourself. No, I'm just I think that I don't. It's not.
Thank
It's,
you, but no thank you.
what do you think, Dutchaholics? It seemed too Hulkamania, right? Was that what it was? But
What's wrong with Hulkamania?
I hate Hulk Hogan, man.
Oh.
I never liked Hulk Hogan. Did you like him as a kid?
I at least knew who he was.
You were never a wrestling fan?
No.
It's the only sports guy.
This Steve, I find out more about Steve every week. Steve was not a pro wrestling fan. This is a shock to
Yeah,
me
it should be.
because I just said, have you ever been to pro wrestling in real life?
No.
You know what? I think I'd like to make a TV show about taking Steve to things he's never done before
Awesome.
and watching his indifference.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like he won't care even a little bit. Like, we'll see how much we can get him, like teach him the backstories and the inside knowledge, and see if we can get him hooked on any of the sports at all.
Yeah. It's
And
not Fish or Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, don't care.
he gives us, you know what Steve does that I've realized because I'm working with him more, is that he hates a lot of the music that we love, but he doesn't say it to us because he doesn't want to hurt our feelings. Is that true?
Yeah. He's a nice guy.
You play it. You've played the music you hate.
Mm-hmm.
And don't say nothing. And Wes, you too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you make Wes play the Grateful Dead with you.
I had to play the hip. That's bad enough.
Oh yeah, because you're really anti-hip.
Yeah, I really.
When can you come out of the closet with that? You just did, obviously, but you're gonna get some hate
I've hated the hip
on air too.
long time. Yeah, I
Even
think
when
so.
Gord Downey was sick,
Yep.
you hated the hip. But even on air,
I
you.
respected what he did for the.
But you don't.
Canadian
You're not.
music, but
Yeah, you're not gonna just like him all of a sudden because he's sick.
No.
Right.
No.
I agree with that. You can't. It's like if a person like was a dick before something bad happened to him, and then something bad happens to him, they're still a dick. Like they're
Yeah.
not a dick. That's how you. And if some and that's how you treat them equally, is you keep treating them as though they didn't have the bad thing happen to them. And so if you're going to treat them like you didn't like them before, then treat them like you don't like them after. I always hate people who all of a sudden the guy's had a tragic accident or something, and now everyone's nice to him. I'm like, he was a total dick before, you know.
Well, maybe the accident changed him.
Maybe gives humility. That's the one thing that I have learned as I get older in life, is that I will forgive more because I've lived longer. So you know how you fuck up more, and then you just see how everybody else is fucking up, and then before you didn't give them a chance because you didn't do anything wrong yet,
Right.
or whatever. Like you hadn't messed up yet. And then you mess up more and more and more, and then you're like, oh, I fucked up so many different ways. Like, I could have easily done that way too. I just haven't done it yet, you know?
Yep.
And then, so now everybody gets a pass. Because then you're just older, you don't care, right? When you're a kid, you don't tolerate that shit. You just like, want the world to be perfect. You're going to change it or whatever. And now you're just like, ah, fuck this. It's not going to change. I'm just hoping to get to the end of it without, you know, like, I don't know, too much weird shit. You know, the weird. I want to go one more sponsor. We already had Vandyke Party Services, which we are going to Nashville on a promotional tour for Mike Stagg, because that's free. That's a gift to Mike for all the years of service, and Clean Flow for their support. And we have to do a quick ad for Norpac.
The beef people.
Oh.
What was that? Norpac?
The beef people.
Okay. I like that one better.
If Kevin had my fucking mic turned up a bit, you guys could hear me.
Yeah, he's not here.
If I watch, I'll go take his mic. You guys will hear everything.
We still never. Yeah, you should do it.
Yeah.
We never. We never go to. Oh wait, he's doing it. The tickle. We never went to say where Mike was at the Jack White concert, but Kevin's got a touch of a flu-like symptoms, is what he said. Flu-like symptoms is generic illness.
Maybe he's pregnant.
Yeah.
Oh, listen to this velvety voice.
Oh, there you go.
Is that Kev's mic?
Yeah, I'm gonna switch him for good. Fuck.
He's not even gonna know what's happened because I don't know if he listens to the show. Oh, he will. He'll listen to the opener. That's the best part.
Jokes on
He's gonna
him.
be like, "What happened?" And then, like, yeah, we fucking nailed it. We nailed it.
Sounded fucking great.
Hey, Guess who else gave us a piece of feedback? This one came from live from the Dutch Hall at gmail.com. It says, I am so glad that your new purchase jitters are settling down. You stated quite clearly last week that these things that assisted the hall just kind of fell into place once you began. And that is it. That's the magic beginning, right? This is the precise magic Goethe speaks of in his famous quote. Pete, do not read the quote. Too boring. Just skip it. It's for your info. I did read the quote. Would you like me to read the quote?
Yeah.
You see, everyone's going to want me to read the quote. That's why I got to read the quote. It says, concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is only elementary truth. Oh, there's only one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitively commits oneself, then providence moves too.
Yeah, you should have listened and not read it.
Why? Too boring?
Yeah, bored.
But you know which word got you? Providence, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost on that one too. Does anyone know what that means?
No.
But I know what the gist of it is that if you start something and commit yourself to it, then it's going to happen because you've committed yourself to it and you have no choice, right?
Right.
It's like if you have a backup plan, you're going to fail. That's what I say.
Yeah.
No backup plans, not allowed, right? What are you doing? Are you filming? No? Oh, okay. It's weird. And then, anyways, he says, once you bought the church, you bought the outcome, and it's going to be awesome. I'm glad I'm here at incubator time. Wait till this baby hatches. Dr. Bruce Veltri.
Oh,
There you go for
that's
Bruce.
nice.
Yeah, very nice, Bruce. Thank you. I'm going to go listener of the week quickly.
Whoa.
No prepare. He's the listener of the week. This is his week.
It's your week, Bruce.
Yeah.
I think we're really coming together. By the time we do the closing theme song, we're gonna be fucking killing it, man.
We are gelling.
This is from Podbean. We got this next piece of feedback. It said, I listened to your show Friday morning on my drive to work, and OMG, I laughed so hard at how nachos are made that I practically drove off the road. If anyone had seen me laughing my head off, they would have thought I was drunk or mentally unstable or both. And there is really no evidence that she was not. In both of those cases. And by the way, fellas, just remember, it ain't the meat, it's the motion. Ha ha. And that is from Good Time Jane.
Hey.
Good Time Jane every week, back again. I love her. She's going to be one of my favorite listeners, I'll tell you that. Not the meat, it's the motion. But I do like the meat. Hey? A nice roast beef. Hey? A nice flobbity. I like it. I like when you can see what's going on. Nice shot, octopus. Hey? Alrighty. We only have one more person. Hey, Jane, you do the hi-hat. Can we do Cheese Lady without drums?
Sure, of course.
Of course, let's do it then.
We're the Nocturnal Emission.
Well, there is one other lady we have to check on, and that's our good friend from the Second Mouse in Delhi. She's a cheese lady. Let's check on her. Checking on the cheese lady, checking on the cheese lady, always on the run. Checking on the cheese lady, checking on the cheese lady, always having fun. Checking on the cheese lady, checking on the cheese lady. Teresa, what you done? No, that's the last one. Teresa, what you've done? I screwed that up. I had to get one more. Is there four and then? Yeah. Okay, sorry. Teresa, the Second Mouse in Delhi, she's a great supporter of our show, and every week she likes to go to Podbean. She likes to give us a little bit of feedback. And I look forward to it every week as well when I get the notification. I'm like, is that Good Time Jane? Or is it the Cheese Lady? And Cheese Lady says, great show, guys. Can't wait to come to the church. I will practice the Kegels in the meantime. LOL. We have got a bunch of like wild women coming to the church. I am really looking forward to it. A lot of white women with tight pusses. They're like clenching them up right now. This church is gonna be off the hook. Can't wait. Oh man, Kegels and the cheese lady. That's just funny that we are really reaching out to on this of all month, November, Men's Health Month.
That's right.
We're reaching out to the women, teaching them how to tighten up the old puss.
Oh.
And I like it that we're doing that service for those women. I like it. All right, that's it. Because we have no Haitian dwarf. What happened was Halloween happened, and he went missing again.
Oh man.
And this is what happens with our little buddy. You don't know what's ever happening with him, but he always gets himself into a little bit of a mix-up. And a lot of times we think he's dead because his organs won't last as long because of his tiny little body. His heart keeps growing until he dies or something. Isn't that what happens? Or their kidneys fail, like Gary Coleman or something? Oh, he fell down the stairs. Didn't he? How did Gary Coleman die?
No idea.
Jane, look it up. Can you please? How did Gary Coleman die? We need to know that. How did Webster die?
Webster's still alive.
Yeah, he's on the reserve.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was shopping at the Caledonia and No Frills. No, what was it? It wasn't No Frills. It was the Zares or the Superstar.
Oh yeah.
Webster spotted in Caledonia.
Yeah, Webster. He's there all the time. How did Gary Coleman die? Oh, she doesn't have a microphone because Paul's got two.
Yes, diva. Well, one that works, and
You could join us over here.
one you can't hear me breathe.
Oh, Paul's got it. How did Gary Coleman die?
Died of a brain hemorrhage on May 28th, 2010 at 42 years old.
Brain hemorrhage.
Yes.
Huh. That's a different
From
kind of
falling.
stroke.
Oh, wow. Oh, I love making fun of the dead. This show, I think that we are all done for feedback. If you'd like to give us any of that particular feedback in the future, there's lots of ways you can do it. You can give us an email at livefromthedutchhall@gmail.com. You can send us a message on Facebook Messenger, Live from the Dutch Hall on Facebook, or Dutch Hall on Instagram, or Dutch Hall on Twitter. And we will definitely get back to you. No questions asked. And we will also maybe read your feedback on the air. And you might be listener of the week. And if you might get on the invitation list for the grand opening, which is going to be on December the 19th tentatively December the 19th at Spiky Ball Studios in Delhi, Ontario.
Oh man.
The very first ever Live from the Dutch Hall on our 5th anniversary show. And it's invitation only, so if you are interested in an invitation, there's only one way to get one, and that's from us. So you have to ask us nicely, and we'll give you one maybe. Or you can become a shareholder of our show, and if you're a shareholder of our show, you get invited automatically. There's only one way to become a shareholder, and that's to give us stuff that we like. Thank you very much. And I just wanted to plug a couple dates coming up for me. I have 2 shows coming up. If you're in the Sarnia area, I will be in Sarnia on Saturday. That's the 10th of November at, I believe it's like 8 o'clock. Sarnia. Oh, let me check where it is. It's at some place in Sarnia. Let me see here. Sarnia. It just says 1245 London Road.
In Sarnia.
In Sarnia, yeah. At 8 o'clock. You got to come there and see a great show. And also, if you're in Barrie on the 27th of the month, which I think is a Tuesday, yeah, we are at the Fox Lounge in Barrie. It's me, Doug Koning, and Jason Allen, 2 Men and a Baby tour. And we are in Barrie at the Fox Lounge. $5 for that show. I think it's $5 in Sarnia, too. So get your tickets and come out and see us if you want to. We're at those 2 shows coming up. And that's it. We're done for all the plugs and shit. All right, so this is a really rare opportunity for us to really delve deeply into the mind and soul of our good friend, Wes Higgins.
All right.
Because we never get to see him on camera this clearly. This is the clearest shot we've had of Wes on camera. He's got his own box. Paul, get in close of him. Let's see him. Come on, get right in there on him.
Real face.
No, not that. There we go. Oh, no, that's good enough. That's good enough. Too close. Too close. Get away from him. Oh, anyways, Wes, you got a microphone. You got a camera. You're a superstar today, right? You're in.
Superstar every day.
2 weeks, though, missing from the show, right?
Yeah.
And that's work related.
Yep.
You claim.
No, it was.
Yeah, I know it is. But you know that you can always just quit your job and play bass here in poverty.
The thought has crossed my mind daily lately.
Yeah, it is kind of something that, like, when you know you're doing the wrong thing, it's kind of like it never leaves you, right? Like the feeling that you're doing the wrong thing never leaves you. But when you're doing something that you're not thinking about, then chances are you're okay with it. You know, like it agrees with you as a person. You know what I mean? Because I've done a lot of different jobs in my life, and there's a lot of them that I just don't agree with. Like, it makes me angry. I'm walking around angry all the time because I know I shouldn't be doing it. One of them was banking. 15 years of being angry, and then nothing. I spent like 8 hours a day with people there for like 10 years. Not even 8. It's like 10 hours a day for 10 years, right?
People are terrible.
And then the day I leave, I'm like, they're like I never spent a day with them. Like I never even was there at all.
I fucking hated customer service and like dealing with the public. I worked at the garage.
Did you work at the general public? Like everyone? That's the worst, man.
Yeah, it was terrible. Like, it completely changed my outlook on people.
When you have to deal with the whole
like
GP, like
40 to 50 customers a day, generally.
Yeah.
And they're dicks.
Yeah. The amount of people out there that don't even like try to and just be reasonable. They just think they either think everyone's out to get them, or they're just like they're really suspicious, or I don't know what it is. And they get defensive, and they end up being real cocks. They make it so that it's worse, you know. I've been that guy lots of times where I'm the one making it worse. You know who's terrible is fucking Charters. You ever go to a mechanic shop with him? I'm like, you can't treat people like that, Dave. And then he's like, but I think he might have watched his dad do it. Like, I think he's kind of learned it from his dad, and he just he rides him hard, eh? Didn't you have to build a house for him for Charters?
Yeah.
He's particular, right?
Yeah, but it was fine.
Yeah, I know, but he's like a eagle eye. He's on it, right? Like, he doesn't miss a detail, right? That's the thing about Charters. He's really on top of it.
I think there's a time for that, though.
Yeah.
Building a house, I think, for sure. Like, that's a big investment if you're...
Yeah. Your biggest investment, yeah.
Yeah, if you're going to a store and telling people how to do their job, then you're an asshole.
Yeah.
But if you're investing in your...
Yeah, if you're protecting your biggest investment in your life, that's understandable.
Yeah.
But if you're like, just going in there and saying like, giving the guy shit for the way he's taking your lug nuts off or something, you know, then you're being a cock. Yeah. Where's the line though? Where's the line? Is the line like, let me think, like it's got to, where is it just borderline important enough that you're okay? You know, like a car, if you're going in to negotiate for a car, it's still a pretty big purchase, right? Get it? You can be a dick, right? But you're getting your car fixed, that's not good enough, right?
I think it all depends on your financial situation.
Oh, yeah. That's why general public is so hard to deal with, because there's so various situations. There's no way you can get a perspective for each one of them, because there's so many different situations out there, and then you have to deal with all of them. Plus, crazy comes in too, because you can't keep crazy out. That's the thing. It's like when I was at a bank, or I was usually lending money to farmers, so I had like farmers or business owners that were coming in. So that was just like a small portion of the population. You still get crazies, and you get like nice people, and you get assholes and douchebags and stuff, and they're all in there, but they're still like all have there's a certain floor, you know.
Yeah.
And then but in the general public there's no floor. And like my wife's office, because it's a medical profession, she's the legitimate general public. Like everyone has to go in there, like everybody. And then you see like the whole swath of the population. You're like, wow, man, like there's so much troubles out there. You don't have any clue. And everyone is like, you have no idea how many crazy people there are living all around you.
That's right.
They live everywhere. Like they're absolutely everywhere. It's terrifying. You know, even in my like Delhi's got what, like 5,000 people or something?
Yeah, I think so.
And I probably know like 200. And I think I know the whole town, right? But there's like a whole nother 4,800 people that I don't have a fucking clue that they exist, right? In a little town like Delhi.
Yep.
Probably walked past them like 100 times in my life, you know, but still don't know, have a clue who they are.
Right.
Isn't that weird?
Crazy.
In the city, it would be even more because you'd have even more people you'd see even more frequently and still not know.
Yeah, absolutely.
At least in small towns, you get to like you'll know your neighbors, you'll know like people down the road or whatever. But in the city, you don't even know. We had a person in Kitchener when we first got married. He helped me shovel my step one time, and I said introduce myself, and I said thank you, and then I said, where do you live? And he goes, right here. Like we share a wall for the last 7 months. You know, you fucking idiot, right? Like I honestly didn't know. I didn't look out the window. I was scared that I was gonna get shot in Kitchener. Hey, remember when we lived in the ghetto?
It's scary there.
Yeah, I lived in the old Chicopee projects or whatever, the townhouses, and like by Stanley Park, and everybody had pit bulls and like Rottweilers and shit in there. You know, it was like a real like. It was thugged out, man. It felt like I was in. It was at the time we lived there. It was shit. I don't know what it's like now, but that's where we first lived when we got married, and we put like tinfoil on the windows to save money on air conditioning. We didn't have air conditioner, right? Is that what it was, to keep the heat out? I always think fondly about being poor. I liked it because when you're stuck, you're hungry and you have to keep moving, right? I like screwing yourself. It goes back to that having no backup plan. You screw yourself, and then you have to do it. Like when you jump off the cliff, then you have to figure it out one way or another. You know, that's what I like about stand up, because in stand up, you're like you never really want to do it ever. Like I have to drive an hour usually, so you drive like an hour, and then you get there, and the show is going to be like shitty, like probably 80% of the time. Like it's going to have no one there. And this is especially bad if you go even further. Then they usually, you're even more disappointed because you're expecting something better. But not Sarnia and Barrie, I'll tell you that.
Oh, that's worth the drive.
That is, you know, if you're in that area. But we're going to be going, but a lot of the shows are shit. But then and you go up there and you're like, you definitely don't want to do it because you know it's not going to go well because the audience is going to just hate you. But then they call your name and you're like, okay, I got to do it. You know, like I have no choice, you know. And that's like where you jump off the cliff. I like that because you're forced to do it, right? It's like when we hit record on the Sultans of Swing.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we were just like, let's knock this fucker out of the park.
That's what I like about watching those comedy shows. I go there and watch. I like watching the comics do their meltdown before they go on stage. Like they are batshit crazy. Like there's guys pulling their hair out, and then all of a sudden they go out on stage and they're like do a normal set, right?
Yeah, it's funny, eh? Like I heard this one guy. He said, I used to pace before before my show, and then I just didn't, and I did the same show, and then I just decided not to pace anymore. You know what I mean?
Wise.
That is actually the smartest advice I've ever heard of, because all that shit you do to yourself before the show is just fucking standing in your own way of doing your show you're going to do anyways. Yeah. You know, you're just like screwing yourself up. Because, you know, if you didn't do that, you'd be fine. You'd go on and go up there and probably be loose and in the moment and perform a great set. But then as soon as you start thinking about it, it's like, for me, it's like golf, you know? As soon as you start thinking about how to hold your elbow or your wrist or some fucking thing,
toes.
I'm never going to even touch the ball. I'm never even going to touch that fucking ball. I'm going to whiff at it and just throw my club into the trees. Yeah, put my dick out and just start with my dick out. I'm not even going. Just going to stay in the cart. my dick out. Anyways, what are we at? Oh fuck, this show's dragging.
Oh, it's a long
We
one.
got one. We got one thing to do yet. What do we got to do? What did we talk about? Oh, Charters. When he was in here last week, well, he wasn't here last week or the week before, right? It's been like he's been AWOL for a while, right?
Oh yeah.
Anyways, the last time he was here, he was picked up. He picked up on Steve's aggression towards him. And did you know about this?
No.
Oh yeah, Charters is convinced that Steve has got it out to get him. Hey, he thinks that Steve's really mad at him for something, and he doesn't know what. Doesn't that lead you to believe he's done something against you? If he believes that, like for him to think that you are mad at him,
Yep.
that means there's things he's done that you could be mad at.
Maybe.
That's what I would suspect. Otherwise, why would he be mad at you? You've never done anything to make him mad.
Yeah, I think you're right. I should be mad at him. I'm mad at you, Dave. Fuck you.
You
Dave.
should at least suspect him of doing something to make you mad. Like he's probably done something. What do you think he's done? You think he's fucked your wife?
No.
No. Like, hey, Wes. Dave usually brings us candy for the show, and Wes brought us candy today.
Oh, it's good candy.
Did you have it?
No, I hate them.
You hate those?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you know the Stroopkas, the licorice, the Dutch ones, that are like salty and
Yeah, I just don't like black licorice.
oh, those are horrible, but
I had one of those on the weekend.
salty.
Another Dutch friend of mine was like, "Here, have one of these things," and I had a
Did
nice
you spit it out?
fresh piece of mint gum in my mouth, and then they handed me this salty black licorice thing, and I was like, "I don't know what whale sperm tastes like, but I'm pretty sure this is it."
Did you spit it out or did you eat the whole thing?
I ate the whole thing though. I love black licorice.
Yeah, but that is gross though. Like it's a
Awful.
different thing, right? It's something else, and the people that love it, like super love it, and I can't stomach it for a second. But you don't even like those. Those are what do they call, black babies?
Now they are, yeah.
But they have did you know they had mustaches?
And a hell of a package.
But they're cock, you mean?
Big cock and balls on them.
Really?
Yeah.
What are they called? African American babies?
No, just licorice babies.
Yeah, licorice
Oh.
baby.
Licorice babies is what they're called?
That's not offensive.
No.
It
They
will
were
be.
not called that as kids. Were they labeled in the grocery store with the
It's either a belt buckle or a big cock.
I think it's Richard Pryor. I think it's a bag full of Richard Pryors. They should just call them that.
They should just call it Richard Pryor.
Bag full of Richard Pryors. No big deal. Actually, when I had one because it like a cheat, and it brought me back to childhood like big time because I hadn't eaten one of those since I've been a kid. But it's like funny how like a candy like bring it right back to that time in your life, you know. But that's definitely an old taste I've never tasted before. Have you tried it? Did you have them when you were kids? No, you don't like it either, eh?
Oh,
What do you
love
like?
it.
Strawberry? Do you like the regular licorice? Strawberry?
Yeah. I could take it or leave it. I
Yeah,
like
me
wine
tue.
Gums.
Wine gums.
Yeah.
They really stick your teeth together
Yeah.
though. Hurt your jaw.
Yeah. Not good for the dentist bill.
But nice tasting. You know what I like? Those candies. Remember the candies that came in a tin, and then they were like a hard candy, but they had like icing sugar on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Do you remember those? I like those. Those were good. And one time we had this Jamaican kill hanger from Hamilton, and he came down to work on our farm, and he had those in a can, and then I was bugging him for him, you know. So he would throw me one once in a while, and then his name was Vern, and then my dad told me like don't take any candy from Vern anymore because there could be like drugs on it. That's what he said. You could lace it with LSD or whatever, angel dust, or whatever he was into from the city. Then I was like, really? Yeah, that was just like icing sugar candy, but could be wrong. Maybe Vern's trying to get me hooked on crack.
yeah, maybe.
Do you remember? You don't remember Vern, do you?
Oh, no.
He was Mackie's cousin. Do you remember Mackie?
No.
Oh, Mackie was a guy from Jamaica that lived at our house before Jamaicans came through for the program. He was like a Jamaican guy that just like came up to Canada on his own and then had to work under the table. He lived in our bunkhouse. You don't remember him?
No.
Oh, Mackey's a great guy. That's funny. Me and Paul are 3 years apart, but we have different childhoods, eh? Like I'll remember stuff from like when he was too young to remember, right? And then it seems like a lot happened in that time. That you're.
I don't remember till I'm like 8 or something. That's the farthest back I can remember.
What's the earliest memory you got?
Lisa getting kicked in the head by a horse.
You were like 6, right?
And that's about the earliest memory ever, but it was, it's burned in my brain.
Yeah, that one I remember vividly. I remember every ounce of that day, because we relived it so many times, right? Yeah, that was terrible.
Thanks.
Yeah, and my sister got kicked in the head by a horse.
Did she ever go flying?
Yeah, her head was all split open, and then they were taking her to the hospital, and I remember my mom had was dressing her wound or whatever, and then she kept asking her like what her name was, like so that to see if she was like still with it, and Lisa started getting worried that her mother had forgotten her name. She was just a kid, and she's like, "What? You forget my name?" My own mother.
I thought you loved me.
Yeah. That was the worst part about it, eh? Just her mother forgot her. She still doesn't remember the pain of the horse. That was awful, though. That is my first memory was kindergarten, because it was the first day of kindergarten. I remember first day of kindergarten. That's the first one I kind of remember vividly, where I can remember like people in the circle and stuff like that. Guy spilling the beans, like they had the beans for the bean counter. They we'd take scoops and put it in like a scale to weigh the beans. Yeah, this guy in my class, Jason Lurch, he spilled the beans.
Spilled the beans.
That's an hilarious joke when you're a kid. Hey, when you're in kindergarten and the guy spilled the beans, but it's an expression as well.
Right.
So you say it out loud and everybody laughs. That's big time when you're 4.
That's working a room.
Yeah. Charters was in that same class as me, and he was actually even younger because he was born in February. So he didn't turn 5 until February, right? So he started kindergarten when he was 4. And blind as a bat, eh? Couldn't see me until grade 2. That's when he got his first pair of glasses. Grade 2. And then he started getting hit in the face with balls and every chance that he could until it would break his glasses. Every story that I have about Charles when he's a kid is he's like, this is all my favorite stories go like this. Charles is in the playground and they're doing something. Let's say this. He goes like, I'm in the playground and I'm playing soccer, and this guy kicks a soccer ball and it hits me in the face and it breaks my glasses, and I go, fuck. And then the teacher hears me, and I go to the principal's office, right? And then he'd be like, another time it'll be like, we're just throwing snowballs outside, and someone throws a snowball and hits me in the glasses and breaks my glasses, and I go, fuck. And then the teacher hears me and I have to go. It was always something about Dave, and Dave always had like a safety pin in there and tape around the one side of it, Like he always, and he was also always the kid who people. He lived in town. So like they would like do stuff like throw snowballs at cars, and then they would like have a getaway, like where they go under a fence, or they would put a tunnel through the snow, and they would like have a shoot away so they could throw a snowball at the car and then like run away from it or whatever. But Charters was always the one where his friends would make the hole just a little bit too small for him to shoot through, because he was a hefty boy, and then he would get stuck in the fence and then get caught by the guy who he's throwing snowballs at. Hey Jane, do you mind shutting off that furnace, please? Anyways, enough about that cock.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
He decided that he was going to, again, prioritize his work, which is, you know what? I'm going to say right now, Charters, your job, though it might give you meaning, if you just put it on off, it'll go off eventually. If your job gives you meaning and all that stuff, that's fine. I don't give a shit. But I think you're a greedy son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I think you should join Wes in being dead broke and waiting for Thursday to roll around each and every week to nail openers like he did today.
That's right.
Right, Charters? Instead of you sitting there counting your money like Scrooge McDuck, doing big fucking dives into I would only imagine, a vault of money. Have you ever been to Dave's house?
Yeah.
Is the basement of his house, is it true the basement of his house is a vault of money that he dives into like Scrooge McDuck every night?
There might be. I'm only allowed in the basement. Never been upstairs.
If you were only allowed in the basement, then you would have seen the vault of money.
It's in like a secret hiding room. I don't know. I didn't see it.
You never went to the kitchen?
Nope. Only allowed in the basement.
How'd you get in the house?
We had band practice.
And you went right to the basement.
Yep.
Were you allowed to like look at his family or anything?
Nope.
Oh no! Like he said, don't look him in the eye. Don't acknowledge you're here.
That's right. Be very quiet.
I don't
Like
understand
secret
why you'd be
band
mad at
practice.
him. Why would you be mad at him? He treats you like that, and you. Why would you be mad at that? That sounds gentlemanly.
He won't even let me upstairs.
I think he sounds like he's treating you like shit. No wonder you're pissed off at him.
Yeah. I got a lot to say to that guy. If he'd ever show up.
Ooh, getting saucy, eh, Paul?
Huh?
Getting saucy. We're really getting like a radio war between you and Dave. This is a cliffhanger. Like, let's say, just for argument's sake, that next week Charter shows up. That's the end of the sentence. Charter shows up. Let's say that happens, right?
Wow.
Like, we're starting to build a teaser for next week where you and Dave are going to confront your issues with one another, right?
Yeah.
We're building this up for the listeners now.
That's right.
We're trying to create a hype. Trash that fucker, Steve.
Dave, I don't think you're a very nice guy.
Well, he's really thrown the gauntlet down now.
Way to tell him.
Charters, you heard him. Say it again, Steve, just so he gets it through
Yeah.
his thick head.
Dave, you're not a nice guy at all. I don't like you.
And what do you think you'll do to him next week?
I don't even think he's going to show next week.
But if he does show, what will you do to him?
I might shake his hand. No, I'm not going to shake his hand. I'm going
Will you
to
talk sternly to him?
maybe that's a good plan. Really,
could do
I'm
it.
quite angry with Dave.
I'll back you
Whatever
up,
he's
Steve.
done.
You know what? You need to be protected in a safe space.
All right.
And what we're prepared to do, we're going to give you that safe space right here in the Dutch Hall. Next week, me and Wes got your back, even Paul. Look at Paul, he's an animal.
Oh, yeah. I got your.
You got his back?
Thanks, man.
Okay, so we got three of us here. Mike is a pussycat. Kev is too sick. He'll need to get his rest. He won't be jumping in any fray.
That's right.
You are totally safe here, Steve. What you need to do is you need to speak your mind next week on the program.
Yep.
On the program, we are going to hash this thing out between you and Dave Charters.
All right.
And if you need to talk sternly to him, if you need to tell him some horrible, horrible truths, and he starts to get physical, I'll tell you right now, there'll be none of that on my program. We will kick his ass.
All right.
And Paul will fuck it. Do you understand that?
Come on, Rooster.
So if that isn't a teaser for next week's program, I don't know what is,
I don't know
folks.
either.
This is going to be great next week. Thank you to everyone that stayed to the end. Thank you to everyone that really, you know what, listened to the opener and didn't just shut it off and burn every piece of audio equipment you had. If you made it this far, you're really, really one of the children of the hall.
Yeah.
Right? If you'd like to give us some feedback, you can do that on livefromthedutchhall@gmail.com or Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. We are either live from the Dutch Hall or Dutch Hall. Until next week, we will see you, NT. See you next Thursday. Hit it. Thank you.